Hey, how are you doing? My name is Lauren Hazel. I am the Story Brand Strategist and come with another tip. Actually, no, this is more of a conversational piece here. Not going to be too long, but it's actually really important because it is talking about the nature of what they call nurture sequences. So, I am a marketing consultant and I'm an email copywriter. And the subject of nurture sequences is relatively important. What I've been seeing is folks like, hey, I'm gonna have a 21-day nurture sequence. I'm a 14-day nurture sequence, and then I'm going to launch my product and hopefully get a whole bunch of sales for my launch and do really, really well. And I've seen a lot of that type of conversation going on. But the truth of the matter is, you're probably conditioning your list for free stuff rather than conditioning them to know, like, and trust you to an actual transaction, which if you're running a business that is dependent on your email list, which most businesses are in some fashion, you want your list you want to know exactly who on your list is willing to buy from you. That's what you want to know. And ideally, you want to eventually segment your list into people who are not buying to people who are buying, for many purposes, but not the purpose of this video. It is really to talk about nurture sequences. Should you have one? How long should they be? Now, nurture sequences do have their place. They do. Like if you are running a particular type of, funnel, that, let's say it's a ask method funnel, for instance, where there's a lot of segmentation going on, where you're usually promising someone in exchange that they take your quiz for an email address, right? So you might have something that you're supposed to teach, and maybe that thing is a video. Well, you don't really need a 10 or 14 or 30 email sequence that is doing nothing but nurturing, if that. But if it's like something that you're distributing content over some emails, like for example, I have a nurture sequence that's only 5 emails long. That's it. That's the most I would give. Now, the reason why I did that is because there was a lot of information to put in one email, and I wanted to break it up into digestible bits for the folks who would go through one of my funnels. But after 5 days, on the 6th day, they're getting a sales email. Actually on the 5th day, I believe there is already a sales email going out. So the fact of the matter is, yeah, I do have a nurture sequence. They're good to have, but you have to do things in moderation. Having a 14 to 30 day to 64-day email sequence that is nothing but nurture sequences where you're not directly selling anything, I believe is death. And it's just not my opinion, it's the opinion of other people who are email marketers who are in the business of direct response, right? But I got some more for you. Now, recently, as of, yesterday for me, I don't know what it might be for you, I read an article in which it was more of an interview that was transcribed, I guess we can call it an article, in which a very prominent CMO was talking about the changes that certain companies were making. And some of the changes were that companies were giving away less free content for paid content, because what they were finding out is that when it comes to certain things, they weren't going to beat certain companies. And the companies they were referring to was like the Googles and the Amazons, right? And for them to continue to fuel free content to train viewers, their users, not to buy for them was not the smartest business decision. So they were giving away less free content and encouraging people to go on their paid platforms. Now, there are many platforms that operate like this. You get no free content or you get very little free content, right? We see that in streaming services, TV networks that become streaming services. We're seeing it now with the New York Times. If you're a reader, you can only get 5 free articles, and then you have to be a paid subscriber to get any more, right? So if we're seeing the bigger companies who have huge marketing budgets, who have been around for a while, do this, why are you going to create a 14-day email sequence that's completely free content, and then you're going to go into some weird sales sequence? Doesn't really make sense. Me personally, I rather condition my email list to be used to me pitching them in every single email. I rather have a list of buyers on my email address. I mean, if I'm going to be busting my butt getting traffic to my opt-in to convince people to opt in, then I want to make sure I can make a return on my investment, usually as quickly as possible. Because if it's paid traffic, it's costing me money. And if I can't sell my products or my services, well, that puts me at a deficit and I no longer have a business. So if you are to the point where you are creating an email list, where you're growing your email list, think about it this way. You need to figure out something that you can sell to see who is a buyer on your list versus who is not going to be a buyer at this moment. You also need to be able to make a return on your investment, because most likely you're probably using paid traffic, or you're probably investing a lot of money in other things to keep that email list growing. Because remember, ESPs charge us money to hold our emails. So if you have like 10,000 emails and you're not selling very often, well, you're paying to hold that 10,000 email block in some email service provider. So you might as well be able to recoup that cost. So that means you should be selling in your emails as soon as possible, if not every time you send an email, unless it's a nurture sequence. Now, this is the thing. I kept my nurture sequence to only 5 days. I don't think a nurture sequence should be over 7 days personally. 5 days is good enough. And so if you are trying to figure out like, oh, I need a nurture sequence, people first get on my list to get used to me, well, give them a 5-day email sequence, where you're just kind of introducing yourself, getting them used to your writing. I wouldn't go more than 7 days personally, or more than 8 days. I would never go to 10 days for an email sequence. But just keep this in mind. You are here to profit from your list. You are here to add value, and they pay you for that value, not for you to continue to add value and you get nothing for in return. That's not a business. That is a charity. And we are in the world of business and making money so that we can do the things that we really want to do, whether it's take the family out to eat, maybe go to Comic-Con, like things I like to do, or maybe you just want to live a free life. That might mean, you get to homeschool your kids, or, it could be you get to quit that job, or, you can afford a nicer place to live or more vacations, whatever it is for you. The only way you're going to get there is that you need to start really treating your email list as an asset. All right, folks, so that's it for now. I'm Lauren Hazel, the StoryBrand Strategist. See you the next time.